one more time. Hello friends, Anna Marie from Just Stamp here. I'm going to be presenting a full online class today. It's featuring the Autumn Amber stamp set and coordinating dies. I have 3 cards for you that start with beginner friendly. It's a card that requires minimal tools. And if you're like me and you love plaid, you're gonna love this card. It is simple, again, requires minimal tools. So hello, Debbie, and I 100% agree. Fall is my favorite season. There is just something about the freshness in the air, the crispness in the air, all the colors. This is the best time. So let's see, we're gonna make this card here. We are going to start with a card base that is called Crushed Curry. It's the standard card size. It is 8.5 by 5.5. I pre-scored it at 4 1/4. So for those of you who are just starting out, this is pretty much the standard card size and the orientation I like, a side folding. There we go. And with the bone folder, you get that nice crisp crease. We're going to bring in another layer. Here's where we go to my plaid. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to my card base. And I'm going to pop it up with a little bit of dimension. So even though this is a beginner-friendly card, we still want to add some things that make it look a little bit fancier. And one of those things that's so easy to add is the dimension. And with these dimensionals from Stampin' Up, it makes it super easy to do that. So I put about 5. These are standard size. They come in 2 sizes. I like both sizes, and they also come in black, which is also awesome to have. So I'm going to flip that over. And let's see, I like that panel right where this Crushed Curry strip right where it is. So we've got that layer. We're going to do a little bit of stamping and coloring. So we're going to bring in a little scrap of white, basic white paper. I'm going to push this up. It's my reference card. I still need it. And there we go. I'm going to be using a must, a black ink pad. This is called Tuxedo Black by Memento. Trying to open that up. And I'm going to ink up my stamp, which I have already mounted on block D. It's acrylic block D. Stampin' Up. Acrylic blocks are the best without a question. They're just made to grip for comfort. You can grip them. No inconvenience. They're nice depth. And I'm going to press firmly. And there I've got a beautiful image. So already this pumpkin is looking pretty cute. I call it a mini cornucopia. It's got pretty pumpkins and a gourd and some corn, those fall leaves, just beautiful. So I am going to color this. And this one in particular, I'm going to be watercoloring. So watercoloring is perfect when you're just starting out because you usually invest in ink pads first. And here's my color scheme. You can see I've got Crushed Curry, Pumpkin Pie, Old Olive, and Crumb Cake, a nice neutral there. And I'm going to create a little supply of ink using a mini ink block. And I'm going to start off, let's see, I'm going to start off with my Pumpkin Pie, opening that ink pad, and then I'm going to take a small block and I'm just going to smush it into the ink pad, and up comes a little supply of ink. I'm going to do that a second and third time because I think I've been stealing a lot of ink from my pads lately. Now I'm using a special watercolor brush. It has a little water receptacle in there, and I'm going to drop. So this is the key for me, is to add a little supply, a little drop of water right onto your ink, and it becomes very watery, very liquidy, and I'm just going to bring it around and color my pumpkins. I'm going to start off light, and you may have watched me watercolor before. My technique is quick and simple. I don't want it to get too wet. I don't want the paper to get too wet because it will start to buckle, pill, not the look that you want for your nice handmade special card. So I see I have some friends joining. If you joined a little bit late, no worries. You're going to be able to catch the video over on YouTube tomorrow, I hope. And you can see we're just getting started. I pre-did my card base, and I added a layer of beautiful plaid. By the way, the plaid comes from a package of paper called Gathering Together. Perfect for fall. It's got all the groovy fall colors with accents of gold. So elegant. Now, I'm doing my pumpkins, and I've got my overall color going on. The bottom one is a little bit lighter, so now's where I'm gonna come in with more solid ink. And I see my friend Sandy has joined. Oh, it's a pleasure that you are here today. It's been a week, right? But I'm grateful for a lot of things. I'm grateful for a lot of people in my life. People like Sandy that show up and support me all the time. It just, that's the reason for crafting and enjoying this time, because it's actually twofold. I love crafting, and then I know it's nice when you send the card and the recipient receives it and makes them feel pretty special. Card out of the blue, happy mail. And what I'm doing, I'm just adding a little bit more shadow with more solid color coming in here. And I'm happy with that. As I said, this is a quick and easy and simple way. Almost anybody can watercolor. You don't have to be an artist. A little water, a little color. I'm using crushed curry now, and I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, I'm going to use my same block. I've got a little paper towel here. I'm just going to clean that off. I'm going to grab some crushed curry now. And I think my previous card, for some reason, I'm thinking I used a lighter yellow. I may have used Daffodil Delight, but no worries. This one's going to work as well. Crushed curry is a little bit richer, I think, and it's going to work out just fine. I am coloring the gourd and the two corn, the ears of corn, and my first coating of color is a light wash. I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to bring in more solid color for those shadowy bits, and also for the dried leaves that wrap the corn. It's just a little bit darker, a little bit richer, as well as the little shadow bits on the gourds. So here we go. So someone's coming through the door. I don't know if you can hear. It's quiet, mostly quiet. The hounds are not barking. All's quiet here on the home front. I have a feeling because they're asleep. They sleep a lot. All right, so you can see I did my little gourd, my corn. And next I'm going to add some green leaves. I'm going to bring in my old olive, and I'll do the same. I'll clean off my block, grab some old olive, and color in my leaves. And hello, Margaret from Charlotte. I hope all is well in North Carolina. Things are, it's one of those Fridays. Thank God it's Friday, right? All right, I'm going to add a light spray, a light wash of color on my leaves. And I'm going to be doing the same. I'm going to come back in just like I did with my orange and crushed curry. I'm going to add some darker solid bits. I totally agree, Caroline. I love the warm colors. Fall is my season. The golden colors, the oranges, those rich colors. just everything is in the air. It feels so good. It's a relief. And today is a nicer day here in Southern California too. It's almost fallish. It's a little, definitely cooler than it has been in quite a while. And it is welcomed. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm usually happy when I do a simple job. I'm using my crumb cake next. I'm going to come in and add a little bit of color to that, the dry foliage. And same tactic, grab some color. Right through here. And with watercoloring, we're not striving for perfection, right? In fact, we're inspiring imperfection. Watercoloring, it's my medium because it's okay to go outside the lines. That's just the brush effect. There we go. And a little bit of crumb cake on the stems of the pumpkin. There we go. All right, so there is my watercoloring. This is the step that takes the longest, but you get your reward in your color. Very pretty. And now if you do not have a die cutting machine, you could easily hand snip. It's not too complicated of a shape. You could easily hand snip, or the other option is to use the coordinating dies. And in this case, the mini would suffice because all of the dies can fit onto the platform of the mini. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to bring in my, oh, I hope I have my die around here. Oh dear. Well, there's no die. I'm going to have to hand snip. Where did Anna Marie put the... Oh, I thought it would be a good idea to die cut. Maybe not. I may have to hand snip. All right, hand snip it is. Let's bring it. Let's bring it. And we're just going to start. So very beginner friendly. You don't even need the die machine. How funny. I thought I set everything up, but that's just the way it goes. I have been scrambling, preoccupied. Anyway. And you're going to see, now my paper is a little bit wet, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful, not try to race through the fussy cutting, because it's still a little damp from the watercoloring. All right, let's get back to it. Sometimes it's helpful to cut off some of the excess paper. One of the nice things actually about fussy cutting is you can leave the amount of border that you want. Some people like the white outline and some people don't. Like, some people like to go right up to the image. What's your preference? I think I'm team in the middle. Oh, Carolyn says she ordered the bundle. Oh, that is awesome. You will not regret having purchased this bundle. I have made quite a few cards. I've shared quite a few. I think it's an absolutely beautiful bundle for the season. The sentiments are just spot on. They're very short, sweet, simple, concise. It's what I love. So, and it's nice when you have the sentiments right in the stamp set. Some stamp sets are just images, and some have the nice selections. And this is one of those with a nice selection. Caroline says fussy cutting is relaxing. Now there are two camps, and I have friends in both camps that say yes, fussy cutting it's kind of soothing. Just relax, take your time, everything stops, and you can just focus and concentrate on the fussy cutting. And then on the other side of the fence, And I'm not going to name names, but I have friends who just cringe when I say fussy cut. It's definitely a preference. All right, now I would say probably the little trickiest bit is this foliage that's coming up, and you can cut as close or as far or as detailed or rounded as you like. I think it's also kind of cool to watch people fussy cut. I have seen some master fussy cutters. Oh my gosh. Now the secret, of course, is to turn the paper, not the scissors. And some people just excel at that. Of course, Anna Marie's sweet and simple stamping. That's my jam. It'd be cool if the die would surface. It's got to be on the table someplace. I have had, it was a whirlwind week actually. I think I had 4 events in 5 days this week, which meant I got to see lots of friends. And what I love is I have friends that come from quite a distance to join in the in-person classes. So that means it's time to catch up and see what's going on in everybody else's life. All right. Let's see right here. So Caroline makes a good point. The DSP or pattern paper by Stampin' Up, sometimes it just has some gorgeous images right in it that you don't even have to stamp. And you can just pull that focal point image and use it as your main player in your card. I can think of lots of pattern paper that way, especially like the Spooky Halloween this season has some cute characters that you can do that with too. And Stampin' Up does offer some dies sets that have a die that will fussy cut, or sorry, that will die cut some of those images. So that's cool both ways. All right, so there is my image. Simplicity, Caroline says simplicity makes beautiful cards. Absolutely. That's my thought too. Just a little bit. You don't have to do a lot of detailing. It's all gonna come together. Now I have a little background for my mini cornucopia. All I've done is punch a circle, and I'm using a punch, which is it's a 2 3/8 inch circle. And punches are great for beginners. All you need is the one tool. You don't need a machine. You don't need to learn how to sandwich. There we go. This one comes from this paper comes from the Gathering Together package, the same package from the plaid. And this one's a nice green stripes. I like the way these stripes look with the plaid here. And I'm going to be placing that here and then putting my mini cornucopia atop. The little circle, I'm going to adhere it to the left with a dimensional. I almost said mini, but what I have handy is a standard, which works perfectly. And then to the right, I want it flat because I don't want an uneven layer or height. That's, yeah, fussy cutting when there's lots of detail, it's just as easy, but it just takes a little bit more time. You just have to resolve yourself. It's going to be a little bit of time. You can't speed through it. So there's my circle. I'm going to add my pumpkins. And again, I already have some dimension going on with the plaid layer. That's up on dimensionals. And then the circles flat with that. So I'm going to add one more layer. I really want the mini cornucopia to pop out. So I'm going to add some right to the pumpkins. go. Whoops, one more. And, oh, I love these pumpkins. There we go. Pretty. And I've got a little perfect sentiment for this card. I'm going to bring in, oops, I thought I had another piece. What happened to my, well, I'm going to bring in just it's about a 1/4 inch. This is the scrap from another card that I created. I always have lots of 1/2 inch scraps, 1 inch scraps, and I save them. I'm going to bring in my Grateful for You sentiment. And I'm just stamping again in the tuxedo black, right like so. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to snip that. Let me put that out of the way. I don't want to get inky. I like the little slant snip. And again. And I'm going to bring it in just below. I think it is a perfect Thanksgiving card or a perfect fall card. As I said, as soon as fall happens, it kind of feels like that season of gratitude and appreciation. The pumpkins and the gourds, of course, they spell Thanksgiving. What I'm doing here, I'm going to bring this up on a dimensional, so it's the same height as the corn, but I'm going to bring it underneath just slightly. Let's see where I can place it. So I'm trying to create I'm trying to unify everything. So some of it's going to be hanging, and then some of it's placed on there, and I do want to tack that down. My favorite technique is to grab a mini glue dot. It's already in place. The image is already in place where I want it. Take your pick, and then just kind of put that, be gentle and bring it right underneath. Whoops, it got stuck there. All right. Oops. Grateful for You. Great beginner card. Notice how simple the pattern paper and the focal image are. It's almost an instant card, except for that fussy cutting. Takes a little bit of time, but it's a simple card for beginners. Coloring makes it extra special. All right, let's see if I can make a little space here. And I'm going to bring in card number 2. This was a swap at my team meeting this past weekend. It's a little bit stepped up from the beginner card. This one is all about the texture. So yay or nay, have you tried embossing folders before? This one has a folder called, I think it's Falling Leaves. Oh my gosh, I should have written that up or checked that out. It's got a embossed background there. I am going to start with a very pretty green for fall. This green is Old Olive. I like it because it's not too bright, but not too dull. It's just right? There you go. Standard card size, but this one's going to go into the landscape orientation. Then I'm going to add an embossed panel and some pattern paper, and this pattern paper is coming from a paper stack I love called Timeless Plaid. It's just a little swatch with the green checkers on it, and I'm going to mat it atop a crumb cake layer. So just makes it easy, and it's going to be flat layered. And this is about 1 3/4 inch wide by 3 inches. So my crumb cake is 1/8 bigger. So that means that the crumb cake layer is going to be 3 1/8. And then I have a piece of 3 inch by, let's see, 2.5 inch. This is the two-tone Old Olive. So it's got 2 different colors of green on it, which is very cool. And I'm going to emboss with that folder, and I'll show you what I did. Now, for this, you do need the standard size cut and emboss machine. So this folder is huge. You could actually do 2 card fronts with the one folder. Just have to watch your orientation of those leaves. I'm going to insert my two-tone old olive, and I am going to, and I want to make sure it's going right orientation. I'm going to insert that into my folder. Now the sandwich or the stack is platform 1 folder, 3D embossing folder with your paper, and then the number 4 plate. And I'm going to just run that through the cut and emboss machine. I'm going to do it off camera. It's right behind me. And you can hear all the noises. The machine didn't break. That's just the machine at work. Now I'm going to bring in that cool texturized layer. How pretty is that? I am definitely in the embossed camp because texturizing, soft embossing, dry embossing, it adds a lot of detail without needing a lot of skill or extra supplies. I mean, it's easy, and regular cardstock, solid cardstock is perfect for it. All right, so there I've got my background for my card front, made up with the timeless plaid and that fallen leaves. Is that? I hope I have the name of the folder correct. Let's see. I'm adding this layer with dimensionals. And, oh, let's see. This one is going to be colored a little bit different. I have another coloring option, also great for beginners. I still need to stamp my pumpkins in black. So same method. There. I'm going to stamp down. This time, however, I am going to be coloring with watercolor pencils. The watercolor pencils are a great option when you're just getting started. They are not a huge investment. You get a lot of colors for under $20. And I've just pulled my fall colors. Again, those pretty yellows, orange, greens. And so I've got my orange, yellow, and I've got a slight variation of yellow, the crushed curry, and a slight variation of the pumpkin pie. This one's Cajun craze. And then again, I've got old olive. And I have a special tool, a blender pen, that's going to bring in and smooth that color out. So I'm going to start with my pumpkin pie. Now, you don't, again, just like with the watercoloring, you don't have to do a precise coloring job. I'm kind of going in circles. You can do scribbles. You are going to be pushing the color around with the blender pen anyway. So the idea is just to get your color on there. And I'm going to do both pumpkins. And these 2 coloring options, watercoloring and colored pencils, are just perfect when you don't have all the Stampin' Blends. The Stampin' Blends, of course, do a beautiful job. Those are the alcohol-based markers. However, they're a little bit pricey. They're about $11 maybe for the pack. That means a light and a dark. And there's got to be at least 50 plus colors. All right, so there's my orange pumpkins. Oh, I have Tammy joining me. Welcome in. Welcome in, dear friend. I'm going to bring in, you know what, I'm going to blend that out before I add my shadowy bits. So I've got my blending pen, and the cool thing about this, it's got 2 tips. You can use, reuse every time when you finish up you're just going to clean it off on a little swatch of paper and put the cap on, and it'll be ready to go next time. So now you can see, okay, this is where I have smoothed out with the blender pen. This is just my little scribble of color, and it's gonna look beautiful. Now, still, you're adding a little bit of moisture, so you want to be careful on how much you blend. You don't want your paper to buckle or pill, but I'm just kind of sweeping it lightly and kind of smoothing out that color. There we go. And I'm going to finish up these pumpkins. I'm going to bring in the Cajun craze and just add a little bit of depth. And I'm going right where the image itself, the stamped image, calls for it. Those little dark marks. The art is built right into the stamp, which is kind of cool. It kind of gives you a guide where to place your shades. And again, it's not precise, just kind of like scribbling in there, because the blender pen's going to do the work. So I hope that you like the textured layer with this little card. It's still a very simple layout. No brain stressing over a layout. The dimensions, as I gave you, I think it's 4.5 by, well, let me tell you precisely. The focal point is 4.5 by 3. And actually it's 4 3/8 by 3 1/8, because the pattern paper and the textured mat are the 4 1/4 by 3. And you don't have to go with the exact dimensions. You could easily eyeball it. Some people like precision, some people like to just eyeball it. Either way, the card comes out beautifully. Okay. There's my watercolored pencil pumpkin. Let's keep going. I'm going to do the gourd next. Put that aside. And again, I'm kind of going in circular motions. The color goes on very quick and easy. And I'm going to do the corn. And I'm going to come in and blend it. With my blender pen. And again, I'm going to bring in the darker yellow, the crushed curry, and do the same. Oops, something fell. If you came to an in-person event, I had one person that came to 2 of them, and she was cracking on me because I was carrying my house purse. Have you been following along with the TikTok movement of a house purse? So I think it's ingenious. It's a game changer. It's the purse for just the house, which means you do not need car keys, house keys. You just need the things that you carry around the house. So Jenny saw me with my adorable little house purse because I spend so much time, I was going to say waste, I use so much time trying to locate the things I need constantly throughout the day. So I placed all those items in the house purse, and it's a crossbody bag. So it's very convenient that it's with me all the time. Okay, so I did my corn, my gourd. I'm bringing in my green for my leaves now. I'm kind of just scribbling, and again with the blender pen. There we go. And let's do the stems. And how about a little bit of color in the tall grasses? There we go. All right, so image is colored, and you know what? This time, no fussy cutting needed. We are going to be using the die. So the die is perfect for the mini cut and emboss machine. These dies in the Amber Autumn set will work perfectly on the mini cut and emboss machine. And I know some crafters struggle with the mini. For me, the key has been to start with platform 3. And I think that's totally opposite what the instructions say. Trust me, I'm giving advice from experience. Platform 3 is my go-to when I have to die cut these tiny little dies. And yeah, I'm not going to say I don't struggle once in a while to get it to feed through. The key is to kind of stagger the plate, not dramatically, just slightly, so that it goes through the machine easily. Look how easy that is. I do put one hand on the handle just to stabilize it. There we go. So, options, fussy cut or die cut, your preference. We went through the benefits of fussy cutting, very calming. Here we have our watercolored penciled image, which I think is very pretty. It's definitely different than the watercolored image. I like them both. This is just going to go simply atop our matted focal point. We're using dimensionals again. See, dimensionals and liquid glue, those are my go-to adhesives, and I do go through a lot of them, both, and mini glue dots as well. All right, we're going to add that right there so it kind of crosses over between both layers, the pattern paper and the textured layer. And then next we're just going to add our greeting. This one says, "Blessed to have you in my life." So can you think of somebody you might send that to? I can think of many people. The older I get, the more I realize I have people in my life that I'm very lucky, very fortunate to have in my life. I think it's a beautiful sentiment. So here we go. We're just going to stamp this little strip of basic white. It measures about 7/8 of an inch, not quite an inch. You could just do the inch if that's what you happen to have. Now, I think that's kind of, no, I think it's fine. I'm going to do my little diagonal cut. And this goes onto my card front. I'm just thinking about my stacking with a dimensional to the left. And we'll slip in a little mini glue dot to the right, so right around so. Bring in the mini glue dots with the take your pick. And I'm just going to slip that right underneath. And there we go. Embossing folders at instant texture. No extra skills needed. But wow, it makes a difference, right? I love the embossing. Pretty card, blessed to have you in my life, with the same mini cornucopia as our first card. So class has 3 cards. Let's see. You can tell me if you're team pumpkins or team acorns. Let me show you. Here is our 3rd card with the acorns from the Amber Autumn bundle. Very simple layout, but it's a little bit stepped up. It's got a little bit more going on. Let's see. This is a thank you card. We're going to start this time with a very pretty neutral called Basic Beige. Same dimensions, and I can see I have a little feathering going on here, and you can't see it so much. Well, you can see it on camera. I like to take my sanding block. Oh, Debbie says great cards. Thank you, Debbie. I'm glad that you like them. I'm going to be asking you which one you like the best. We'll see. Is it simple, the texturized, or the stepped up? So standard size 8.5 by 5.5 with the score line going up midway 4 1/4. Then we are going to add our focal point art. I've got Cajun Craze, and it measures 3.5 by 4.5. And I'm going to layer up. Again, I'm going to add a little bit of that embossed cardstock, same folder. This layer is basic white, and it measures 3 1/8 by 2.5. It's going to go flat onto my mat. Carolyn says, Team Pumpkin. It's a toss-up for me because I like the pumpkins, but I think the acorns are pretty special too. We are going to be, let's see, watercoloring the acorns and maple leaves. There we go. And then I have a pretty swatch of the pattern paper, the Gathering Together. This has a different pattern to it. Those beautiful leaves, and it's got gold embedded in the veins there. Very cool. And then I have a tiny peak of gold foil. I'm going to be layering my pattern paper atop, so I have a little tiny flash of gold peeking through. And I'll say I'm definitely a liquid glue person, except when it comes to foil. I do try to use another adhesive. You could use either tear and tape, or I'm just going to go with some mini glue dots. And the reason is because if you have even the slightest amount of liquid glue that squeezes past that seam, it's a mess, and it's hard. You can try and clean it off, and it is very much doable, but it's a little bit harder. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. I'm glad that you like my pretty cards. I think they're simple, sweet and simple, very pretty, especially for the season. The colors and the theme, the leaves and the pumpkins and acorns, it's just all about fall. All right, now I can add liquid glue to this layer. And I'm gonna put that right on my Cajun Craze mat. And so there's a nice little transition from the pattern paper to our texturized layer. This is gonna go on flat. Let's see, did I do flat? No, I actually raised it with my dimensionals. So right through here. So Team Pumpkins, what's your thought? I hope you like the acorns too. The acorns, this card has something else from the die set. So sometimes the die sets just outline cut some of the images in the stamp set, and some of the times you get bonus dies, and that's the case in this bundle. I have some cute little die cuts. They come from the bundle. We have a leaf and then the little foliage that I did in gold foil. So this is going to go right on here, but I'm not going to secure those yet. I'm going to wait until my focal point is done. We're going to be stamping and watercoloring. So this one has the oak leaf, and again stamped in tuxedo black. And let's just stamp down there. And let's see, I think I have, trying to determine, oh, I do have the die on this one, so we're gonna do the die cutting. And we're mostly coloring with, let's see, with pecan pie, Cajun Craze, and let's see if I can also find my crumb cake. Let's see where that is. right, so there's my color scheme. I am going to start with my lightest color, the crumb cake. Just flip that around a little bit. Grab some crumb cake ink and my watercolor brush, which is, oh dear. Well, I found it. Okay, so we're going to do our little drop and create our little puddle of color. This is the under layer for the acorns. It all has a very light beige undercoat. So I'll let that dry a little bit. And then I'm going to bring in my, oh, you know what? I'm going to do my leaves in pecan pie. And lots of water, because this is definitely a wash. Oops, just flick that. Let's see. Just very quick wash of pecan pie. And I'm going to do a little bit more color. This is going to come in to outline or to shadow the acorns. So less water, more color, as well as a little cap. Acorns are sweet, sweet little plant. They attract those cute squirrels, but I don't think I'm crazy about squirrels. They're cute, but I don't want them in my backyard. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna add some color to those leaves. And this time I'm gonna bring in some Cajun craze. And add my water. Bring that out of the way. And so this is a little bit later in the season, right? When the leaves are starting to change even more so. The beautiful burnt oranges. And so when you watercolor or even with pencils, no two images are going to be exactly alike. Even though they're made by the same person, each one's going to be different. Okay, I'm going to bring in a little bit more solid color on the veins, those little darker bits. All right, so just a reminder, if you pop in late and you would like to see all of the cards in today's class, you can always catch the replay here on Facebook for about 30 days, and then the Facebook is going to take it down. But I try to post them over to the YouTube channel, Just Stamp with Anna Marie, hopefully by the day after the next day. It takes a little bit of time to download. Sometimes And I do snip a little bit so that we jump right into class. So if you miss the beginning, you can always catch it, the replay. And if you want to grab this kit and make the cards, place a $50 order on my online store by the end of the month. The kits will ship first week of October. I will put the link to the store up above the video right after. All right, so there are my oak leaves and acorns. And I do happen to have the die on this one, so I can die cut. Same sandwich. Platform 3 cutting pad paper. I'll bring it in a little bit. And then the die. All right. So if you want more details on the Amber Autumn bundle and some more projects, skip over to the blog, AnnaMariePalmerin.com. We've got, I think, a couple of posts with more cards and more tips, more ideas to inspire you to get your fall crafting started. There we go. And let's see, put that aside, bring that in. I'll bring in my card that we're working on. And I'm gonna add my acorns and leaves with dimensionals. And let's see. Right through here, let's see if there's okay, we've got the leaf going on here, and I'm trying to step on the gold foil, not quite. I did, kind of. There we go. Right in place. That one's kind of bent. All right, now to secure those, just a little bit more, you know what I like to do, bring in the glue dots. And you only need one, maybe. I'll just lift that up, slide that right underneath, and bring it in. Add that. And our sentiment this time just says thanks. And I'm going to do this on basic beige in black. Whoops, I've got the wrong stamp. I'm going to bring in my black pad. And stamp right on. And we are going to outline cut this one little word. And I'm just going with the curve of the script. And I think maybe on my reference card, I may have stamped in basic white, but that's okay. The slight variation might be kind of nice. It'll pop off of the basic white texturized layer. So this stepped up card has the texturizing. It's got more layers and some more die cuts to bring in just a few more details. That's definitely going to be impressing your friends or whoever receives this card. There we go. Oh, thank you, Gail. So happy you popped in. I think that this beautiful bundle just works all the magic by itself. That and the pretty gathering together paper, just gorgeous with the gold detailing. So pretty. All right, we're going to add that right up here. And there we go. There's our thanks card. Notice how the layering and the stamped images, the die cuts and the embossed textures, this is where your card really becomes a keepsake. So let's see, we made our acorn card. We made our blessed to have you in my life card. Move that over. And also our grateful for you card. So I love how we started with a simple card and worked our way up to the stepped up project. Remember, you can watch the class anytime, but if you'd like to actually make these cards, you can grab the class kit for free with any $50 order in my online store by September 30th. I'm going to insert the shopping link so you don't have to search out. And I want you to tell me which one of the 3 cards was your favorite. The beginner, the intermediate, or the stepped up. Oh, thank you, Sandy. Sandy says she loves the cards. I'm always thrilled when you can join. It's a pleasure to come once a week when I can and share the things I love. I hope that you get into your fall crafting. And until next time, happy stamping.